If people are leaving your life without explanation, it is not rejection. It is divine protection. If relationships are ending abruptly, if friends are growing distant, if doors that once welcomed you are now closing, do not interpret this as abandonment. This is alignment. I did not remove them to hurt you. I removed them because where I am taking you, they cannot go. Their energy would contaminate the sacred space I am preparing. You have been wondering why the connections you once cherished feel strained. Why conversations that used to flow naturally now feel forced. Why people who once sought your company now seem uncomfortable in your presence. You have questioned whether you did something wrong, whether you pushed them away, whether you are becoming difficult to love. But let me reveal the truth that will set your mind at peace. This is not about your behavior. This is about your elevation. This is not about your personality. This is about your purpose. What you are experiencing is not relational failure. It is spiritual promotion. I am strategically removing people from your life because their presence would hinder what I am about to do in your life. When I prepare to move someone into a new dimension of living, I do not just change their circumstances, I change their environment. I do not just shift their situation, I shift their circle. I do not just alter their assignment, I alter their associations. Because the people who were appropriate for your yesterday are not necessarily equipped for your tomorrow. You must understand that every relationship has a spiritual weight. Some people carry energy that lifts you higher. Others carry energy that pulls you down. Some relationships sharpen your focus. Others scatter your attention. Some connections strengthen your faith. Others weaken your resolve. And when I am preparing you for a significant elevation, I cannot allow energy that works against your advancement to remain in your space. This disconnection you are experiencing is not random. It is surgical. I am not removing everyone. I am removing specific people whose presence would sabotage your progress. Those who celebrate your struggle but resent your success. Those who want you healed but not whole. Those who enjoy your dependency but fear your independence. Those who love your potential but cannot handle your fulfillment. Let me explain the divine science behind this strategy. Your spirit operates on a frequency. As you grow spiritually, as your character develops, as your purpose becomes clearer, your frequency rises. And those whose frequency is not compatible with your new level of operation will naturally feel uncomfortable around you. They cannot maintain the connection because the spiritual gap has become too wide. This is why the disconnection often happens without explanation. They cannot articulate what they are feeling because it is happening in the spiritual realm. They just know that something has changed. They sense that you are different. They feel that the dynamic has shifted. And because they cannot rise to meet you at your new frequency, they withdraw. Do not take their withdrawal personally. Do not interpret their distance as rejection. Do not see their silence as punishment. They are responding to a spiritual shift that they can neither understand nor control. Their departure is not about you being too much. It is about you becoming too different from who you used to be. Some people are assigned to your life for a season, and when that season ends, their assignment ends too. They were meant to walk with you through a specific chapter, but not the entire book. They were designed to accompany you through certain experiences, but not all experiences. And when you graduate from the level they were meant to support you through, their role in your story naturally concludes. This can be painful, because you may have assumed certain relationships were permanent. You may have believed certain people would always be part of your journey. You may have invested deeply in connections that you thought would last a lifetime. But I need you to understand that not every relationship is meant to be eternal. Some are seasonal assignments designed to serve both you and them for a specific period. And here is what most people never realize. The people I remove from your life are often protected by their removal just as much as you are protected by their departure. They may not be ready for the level of responsibility that comes with being close to someone I am about to elevate significantly. They may not have the spiritual capacity to handle the intensity of what you are about to walk through. They may not possess the emotional maturity to support you through the transformation I am orchestrating. By disconnecting them now, I am sparing them from exposure to pressures they are not equipped to handle. I am protecting them from witnessing processes they are not prepared to understand. I am shielding them from assignments they are not ready to support. Their removal is not just your protection, it is their protection too. But let me address the loneliness this creates. I know it feels isolating when people you once relied on are no longer accessible. I know it feels empty when your circle shrinks and your support system changes. I know it feels uncertain when the familiar voices are replaced by silence. This is the most challenging part of the divine disconnect strategy. The space between removal and replacement can feel overwhelming. Yet this season of relational minimalism is necessary. In the quiet, you learn to hear my voice more clearly. In the solitude, you discover strength you did not know you possessed. In the isolation, you develop intimacy with me that crowds would make impossible. This is not punishment for your growth. This is preparation for your promotion. I am creating space in your life for the relationships that are aligned with your destiny. I am clearing your calendar for connections that will serve your purpose. I am emptying your circle so I can fill it with people who are equipped for where you are going, not just where you have been. The new relationships I am bringing will be different from what you have known. They will be deeper, more purposeful, more aligned with your calling. These people will not be intimidated by your growth. They will be inspired by it. They will not be threatened by your success. They will be supportive of it. They will not try to keep you at a level that makes them comfortable. They will encourage you to rise to the level I have called you to reach. But before I bring the new, I must remove the old. Before I introduce the aligned, I must disconnect the misaligned. Before I send those who will support your elevation, I must remove those who would sabotage it. This process cannot be rushed, and it cannot be skipped. Some of you are in the removal phase right now. You are watching relationships that once brought you joy become sources of stress. You are experiencing disconnection from people who once felt like family. You are finding yourself isolated from circles that once embraced you. Do not panic. Do not chase what is leaving. Do not try to force connections that are naturally dissolving. Instead, trust the process. Trust my timing. Trust my strategy. I know what I am doing even when you cannot see the bigger picture. I know who needs to leave even when their departure breaks your heart. I know what energy needs to be removed even when you cannot detect its toxicity. I am orchestrating this for your benefit, not your detriment. And while you are in this season of disconnection, use it wisely. Let it drive you deeper into relationship with me. Let it teach you to find your identity in my love rather than in human approval. Let it strengthen your ability to stand alone when necessary. Let it prepare you for the level of leadership that requires you to make decisions that not everyone will understand or support. The people I am removing were serving a purpose, and that purpose has been fulfilled. They helped you grow to this point. They supported you through previous challenges. They were exactly what you needed when you needed them. But now you need something different. Now you need connections that can handle the weight of your calling. Now you need relationships that can support the magnitude of your assignment. Do not feel guilty about outgrowing relationships that once served you well. Do not feel ashamed about needing different energy than you used to need. Do not feel bad about being unable to maintain connections that require you to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Growth naturally creates distance from some people, while drawing you closer to others. This divine disconnect strategy is not cruel, it is kind. It prevents you from wasting energy trying to maintain relationships that are no longer aligned. It saves you from the exhaustion of constantly explaining your evolution to people who are not ready to accept it. It protects you from the frustration of being misunderstood by those who knew the old version of you but cannot embrace the new version. And here is the beautiful part. As you trust this process, as you allow the natural disconnection to occur without fighting it, as you rest in the confidence that I know what is best for your life, you will begin to sense the new relationships approaching. You will start to feel the shift in your spiritual atmosphere. When the new connections arrive, and they will arrive, you will understand why the old ones had to leave. You will see clearly why certain people could not come with you to the next level. You will recognize that their departure was not a loss, but a repositioning. You will realize that what felt like rejection was actually redirection. The divine disconnect strategy is one of my most misunderstood methods of blessing. People see the removal and think I am taking something away, but I am actually making room for something better. People focus on who is leaving and miss who is coming. People mourn the connections that are ending and fail to prepare for the connections that are beginning. Trust me when I disconnect people from your life. Trust me when relationships that once felt solid begin to feel shaky. Trust me when people who once pursued your friendship begin to keep their distance. I am not removing them to isolate you. I am removing them to align you. I am not disconnecting them to punish you. I am disconnecting them to position you. The space that feels empty now will soon be filled with relationships that fit your destiny perfectly. The silence that feels lonely now will soon be replaced by conversations that nourish your soul deeply. The distance that feels painful now will soon be replaced by intimacy that satisfies your heart completely. But until then, walk in the confidence that you are loved, chosen, and perfectly positioned for everything I have planned for your life. The disconnection is not rejection, it is divine strategy. The removal is not abandonment, it is alignment. The distance is not punishment, it is preparation. Your circle is changing because your calling is changing. Your relationships are shifting because your responsibility is shifting. Your connections are evolving because you are evolving. And every person who walks away is making room for someone who belongs in your future, not just your past. Trust the divine disconnect strategy. It is working perfectly, even when it feels painful. It is positioning you precisely, even when it feels confusing. It is protecting you completely, even when it feels like loss. What feels like an ending is actually a beginning. What looks like a detour is actually a direct path. What seems like a mistake is actually a masterpiece in progress. The people who are meant to journey with you into your next chapter will not be threatened by your transformation. They will be thrilled by it. They will not be intimidated by your elevation. They will be inspired by it. They will not try to keep you small. They will encourage you to expand. And when you meet them, you will understand perfectly why everyone else had to go. The divine disconnect strategy is complete. The repositioning is finished. The new connections are prepared. Step confidently into the relationships that await you, knowing that everyone who belongs in your future has been perfectly selected for your purpose. But I want to go deeper into this revelation because there are layers to the divine disconnect strategy that most people never understand. They see people leaving and immediately assume something is wrong with them. They experience relational distance and conclude they are becoming unlovable. They feel the shift in their social atmosphere and interpret it as personal failure. But this perspective misses the profound spiritual work happening in the invisible realm. When I begin to elevate someone, I do not just prepare them for increased responsibility. I prepare their entire environment for increased intensity. The blessing I am about to release into your life carries a spiritual weight that not everyone can be near. The anointing I am about to place on you generates an energy that will be too intense for unprepared relationships. The authority I am ready to give you requires a level of spiritual cleanliness in your environment that some connections would contaminate. This is why the disconnection often happens before the elevation becomes visible. I am clearing your spiritual atmosphere in advance. I am purifying your relational environment in preparation. I am sanctifying your circle before I fill it with my presence in a greater measure. Because what I am about to do in your life cannot coexist with energy that operates in opposition to my purposes. Let me reveal something that will change how you see every relationship that has ended without explanation. Some people are not just incompatible with your future. They are actually assigned by the enemy to prevent your future. They do not know this consciously. They may genuinely care about you. They may have good intentions. But spiritually, their presence in your life serves the purpose of limitation, distraction, and delay. These relationships feel comfortable because they do not challenge you to grow. They feel safe because they do not require you to change. They feel familiar because they connect with the version of you that was settling for less than my best. But as I begin to call you higher, as I start to stretch your capacity, as I begin to reveal your true potential, these relationships become sources of resistance rather than support. The person who always talks you out of taking risks when I am calling you to step out in faith. The friend who consistently reminds you of your past failures when I am trying to show you your future victories. The family member who insists you are being unrealistic when I am expanding your vision. The colleague who subtly undermines your confidence when I am building your courage. These are not neutral relationships. They are strategic assignments designed to keep you operating below your potential. I disconnect these relationships, not because I am harsh, but because I am protective. I remove these people not because I am cruel, but because I am committed to your destiny. I create distance, not because I want you to suffer, but because I want you to succeed at the level I have planned for your life. And here is what you must understand. The disconnection process is often more difficult for you than it is for them. They may walk away easily because maintaining connection with someone who is being elevated requires them to examine their own stagnation. They may create distance comfortably because your growth reminds them of their own lack of progress. They may end the relationship without struggle because your transformation confronts their complacency. But you feel the loss deeply because you have a heart that values connection. You experience the pain intensely because you have learned to love authentically. You struggle with the separation because you have invested genuinely. This emotional difficulty is not a sign that you are wrong to let them go. It is evidence that you are right to grieve what was while trusting what will be. However, I need you to recognize the difference between healthy grieving and unhealthy chasing. It is appropriate to feel sad when relationships end. It is normal to miss people who once brought joy to your life. It is natural to feel lonely when your circle shrinks. But it is not wise to pursue people who are clearly pulling away. It is not beneficial to force connections that are naturally dissolving. It is not helpful to beg for relationship with those who are choosing distance. When I remove someone from your life, I do it gradually enough for you to recognize the shift, but definitively enough to prevent you from reversing it. I create enough space for you to feel the change, but not enough opportunity for you to manipulate the outcome. I allow enough time for you to process the transition, but not enough time for you to sabotage the separation. Your job during this process is to cooperate with my strategy, not to resist it. Your role is to trust my timing, not to force your timeline. Your responsibility is to honor my decision, not to override it with your emotions. This requires a level of spiritual maturity that many people never develop. The ability to let go of what you love for the sake of what you need. And while you are learning to release what is leaving, I am preparing you to receive what is coming. The skills you develop during the disconnection season, independence, discernment, spiritual sensitivity, emotional resilience, these are the exact qualities you will need to steward the relationships I am bringing to replace what was removed. The new connections will not be random encounters. They will be strategic assignments. People who have been prepared by their own processes to support your purpose. Individuals who have been refined by their own experiences to understand your assignment. Relationships that have been sanctified by their own journey to contribute to your destination. These people will recognize your value immediately because they have learned to recognize quality through their own development. They will appreciate your growth because they have pursued their own growth. They will support your vision because they have been given their own vision. They will understand your challenges because they have overcome similar challenges. When you meet them, the connection will feel different from what you have known before. There will be an immediate spiritual compatibility, an instant recognition of purpose alignment, a natural flow of energy that requires no forcing, no manipulation, no performance. You will not have to convince them of your worth. They will see it clearly. You will not have to hide your flaws. They will love you completely. You will not have to minimize your calling. They will celebrate it fully. But until these divine connections arrive, you must learn to be comfortable in the space between removal and replacement. This is where most people fail the test. They become so uncomfortable with the temporary isolation that they settle for relationships that are beneath their destiny. They become so afraid of loneliness that they reconnect with people I have strategically disconnected. They become so desperate for companionship that they lower their standards to accommodate incompatible energy. Do not make this mistake. Do not let the discomfort of the transition drive you back into relationships that I have already marked for removal. Do not allow the fear of being alone to convince you to settle for connections that will ultimately limit your potential. Do not let the temporary pain of disconnection cause you to abort the permanent gain of divine alignment. Instead, use this season to deepen your relationship with me. Let the silence of human voices create space for you to hear my voice more clearly. Let the absence of human counsel drive you to seek my wisdom more fervently. Let the lack of human affirmation teach you to find your validation in my love more completely. This season is not just about removing the wrong relationships. It is about strengthening the right relationship, your relationship with me. And as you grow in intimacy with me during this season, you will discover something beautiful. The loneliness begins to transform into solitude. The isolation begins to feel like sanctuary. The disconnection begins to create the space for deeper connection with your own purpose, your own calling, your own destiny. You begin to enjoy your own company. You begin to value your own thoughts. You begin to trust your own instincts. This internal development is crucial because the relationships I am bringing will require you to maintain your own identity while building intimate connection. They will require you to contribute from your own fullness rather than drawing from your own emptiness. They will require you to love from your own healing rather than seek healing from your love. And this kind of healthy relating can only develop when you learn to be whole alone before you become complete in relationship. So do not rush the process. Do not try to accelerate the timeline. Do not attempt to force premature connections to fill the space that divine disconnection has created. Trust that I know exactly when you will be ready for the relationships I have prepared. Trust that I know precisely when they will be ready for you. Trust that my timing for bringing you together will be perfect. Every person who has walked away on schedule. Every relationship that has ended on time. Every connection that has dissolved according to plan. And every new relationship that is coming will arrive exactly when it is supposed to arrive. Your job is not to control the timeline. Your job is to trust the process. The divine disconnect strategy is not just about removing the wrong people so the right people can enter. It is about transforming you into the kind of person who attracts the right people naturally. It is about developing the spiritual discernment to recognize divine connections immediately. It is about building the emotional health to maintain godly relationships successfully. When the season of disconnection is complete, when the new connections begin to manifest, when the aligned relationships start to form, you will look back on this season with gratitude. You will understand why every goodbye was necessary. You will see clearly why every ending was actually a beginning. You will recognize that what felt like loss was actually gain. What seemed like rejection was actually redirection. What appeared to be abandonment was actually alignment. The divine disconnect strategy is one of my greatest gifts to those I love. It protects you from relationships that would drain your energy and connects you with relationships that will increase your energy. It separates you from people who would limit your potential and joins you with people who will expand your potential. It removes you from circles that would minimize your calling and places you in circles that will maximize your calling. Trust the strategy, honor the process, embrace the season. The disconnection is temporary, but the protection is permanent. The isolation is brief, but the elevation is lasting. The goodbye is momentary, but the breakthrough is eternal. Everything that is leaving is making room for everything that belongs, and everything that belongs is far better than everything that left. The divine disconnect strategy is complete. Your relational destiny awaits. Step forward with confidence, knowing that your circle has been perfectly curated for your purpose, and your purpose has been perfectly designed for your destiny. Remember this truth as you move forward. Every person who left was meant to leave, and every person who stayed was meant to stay. Every relationship that ended served its purpose, and every relationship that continues serves its purpose. Every connection that dissolved made room for connections that will endure. This is not loss, this is divine positioning. This is not rejection, this is redirection. This is not abandonment, this is alignment. Walk in the freedom of knowing that your relational future is brighter than your relational past, because I have personally overseen every connection and every disconnection to ensure that your circle becomes a perfect reflection of your calling and your destiny.